All right, let's talk Waterloo real estate. For years, it's been just a frenzy, right? But is that finally changing? Is the power finally shifting back to buyers? Well, we've got the official numbers for October 2025 right here from the Cornerstone Association of Realtors, and we're going to dig in and see what's really going on. Let's do this.
Seriously, this is the question I'm getting all the time. Whether you're thinking about buying, selling, or just keeping an eye on your biggest investment, everyone wants to know, is the Waterloo market finally cooling off? Well, today we're going to find out. We're going to break down the 3 big things you need to know: what's happening with sales, where prices are headed, and, this is a big one, how much inventory is out there.
Okay, first up, the big picture. To really see if there's a shift happening, we've got to start with the most basic thing: sales. I mean, how many homes are actually being sold?
And here's the number for October, 569. That's it. That's the total number of homes that sold across the entire Waterloo region. Now, 569, is that a lot? Is that a little? On its own, that number doesn't really tell us much, right? We got to put it into context.
And wow, this is where things get really interesting. So if you look at last year, yeah, sales are down about 6.7%. Okay, that's a dip. But look at that second number. Compared to the 10-year average for October, sales are down a whopping 18.4%. That's not just a little cool down. That is a major slowdown compared to what's normal for this time of year. We're talking about a pretty significant drop in activity.
So you might be thinking, okay, maybe that's just one type of home dragging the numbers down. Nope, not at all. This slowdown is hitting pretty much everything. Detached homes, they're down a bit, 3.4%, but just look at townhouses and condos. We're talking double-digit drops here, down almost 17% and 16% from last year. This isn't isolated, it's happening across the board.
So let's move on to the price story. Because with fewer homes selling, the obvious next question is, what's going on with prices? And trust me, the answer here isn't as simple as you'd think.
So here's the number you see in the headlines: $734,928. That's the average sale price in October. And yeah, it's down 5.6% from last year, so case closed, prices are down, right? Well, not so fast. Because that average price can actually be pretty misleading. And here's why. The Real Estate Association itself points this out. Think about it. If one month, a ton of multi-million-dollar homes sell, the average price goes way up. If the next month, a bunch of smaller condos sell, the average plummets. It doesn't mean your home's value actually changed that much. It just means the mix of what sold was different. It distorts the picture. So the big question is, how do we get a real sense of what's happening with home values? Well, we use something called the MLS Home Price Index, or HPI for short. This is the tool the pros use. Instead of just lumping everything together and getting a messy average, the HPI tracks the value of a typical home over time. It's like comparing an apple to an apple, which gives us a way more accurate picture of what's happening to property values.
And when you look at the HPI numbers, you see the real story. Okay, overall, prices for a typical home are down around 6.5%, maybe 7% across the region. But check this out. Look at apartments in Kitchener-Waterloo. The benchmark price there is down over 10%. 10%! That's a huge detail the simple average price completely misses. This is why HPI is so important.
All right, next up, let's talk about the supply story. We've got fewer sales, and we've got prices softening. But the third piece of this puzzle, and honestly, for anyone thinking of buying, this might be the most important piece, is all about supply. Just how much choice is out there right now. Okay, get ready for this number, because it is absolutely staggering. At the end of October, the number of homes for sale was 90.2%. That's 90.2% above the 10-year average. Let me say that again. Almost double the usual number of homes are on the market. That is a massive shift. It means buyers have more choices right now than they've had in a decade. So how do we measure the impact of all that extra choice? We use a metric called months of supply. It's super simple. It just asks, if nobody listed another house, how long would it take to sell everything that's currently for sale? The higher that number, the slower the market and the more power buyers have.
And this chart just lays it all out. Look at condos, 7.6 months of supply. Anything over 6 months is considered a deep buyer's market. That means condo buyers are really in the driver's seat right now. Even townhouses at 4.7 months and detached homes at 3.1 months, this is a world away from the bidding wars and craziness we've seen in the past few years. The market is so much more balanced now.
And you can feel that slower pace right here. On average, it's taking 31 days to sell a home. Now that's up from 27 days last year, But compare it to the 5-year average of just 19 days. That's almost 2 extra weeks. What does that mean for you? It means breathing room, more time to look, more time to think, and way less pressure to make a crazy rushed offer.
Okay, so let's put it all together. Sales are down, prices are adjusting, supply is way up. What's the big takeaway from all of this? Is this actually a window for buyers?
Let's just boil it down to the essentials. 1, sales are way below normal. 2, prices, when you look at the HPI, are definitely softening. 3, the number of homes for sale is at a multi-year high. And 4, homes are just taking longer to sell. You guys, every single one of these signs points in the same direction. This market is tilting, and it's tilting in favor of buyers.
And there's one more little piece of good news in the mix. The association spokesperson, Crystal Mora, points out that the Bank of Canada recently cut interest rates just a little bit, by 0.25%. Now look, it's not a massive drop, but it's a signal, right? It could be just the confidence boost some buyers need to get back in the game. And with all this inventory on the market, she's calling it a good time to start talking to your realtor.
So here we are. All the data, all the numbers, they're all telling us the same story. The power dynamic in the Waterloo Region housing market has definitely shifted. There's more to see, there's more time to think, there's less competition, which really leaves just one big question, and this one's for you. Could this be the moment you've been waiting for?